Welcome to the Backroads episode 3. For this episode, I thought I would take a break from the paranormal and instead focus on the extraterrestrial. I want to tell you about 2 UFO sightings in the King City, California area. Sit back, relax. I'm about to tell you about the King City encounters. The following encounter was reported to the National UFO Reporting Center. The following was anonymously reported. Tuesday, August 20th, 1974. Over the city of King City, California are 3 green oval lights traveling at an incredible speed. It was a summer evening right after a dinner party with a friend who has since passed away. It was a very clear summer evening, and as we were going to our vehicles to leave, 3 bright lime green luminous oval shapes went from north to south at a speed I would say is equitable to a jet. The color was captivating and they were solid in color. There was 1 in front and 2 in the rear, quite close to each other. They were also, I would say, about the length of a Boeing 707, very large and actually quite low in the sky. I couldn't even begin to tell you what height I thought they were. I just thought they looked low on the horizon and not quite straight overhead. They went in a straight line of flight. I have often thought about this and have never read anything that could explain what we saw. There was no sound, which was strange for something traveling that low and fast. King City has always been a strange place. It is the last city in southern Monterey County to have Highway 101 pass through it. After that, it's just unincorporated communities and empty fields for miles and miles. This story could quite possibly be explained by military aircraft, but the following story does not have as many holes as this one. Uploaded October 15th, 2014 on the YouTube channel of one Ed Smith is a frightening story of an alien encounter just south of King City, near San Lucas around 2007.
You don't like to bring these things out into the public a lot of times because you're afraid of the labels. The laughs behind the back, accusations that you're just plain nutcase. But after hearing some of Ed's stories and some of the experiences that he's had, this is what happened to me.
Keith was heading north on his way back from Cambria, California, hauling a truck full of firewood sometime around 3 a.m. He pulled into a rest stop on Route 198. I'll let Keith tell you what happened next.
So I pulled my truck off the road there. Went out to relieve myself. I'm standing there on the opposite side of my truck, relieving myself, looking out into the fog night, listening to the truck sound of my truck, and all of a sudden, from behind me comes this loud voice, very resonant type of voice. Loud voice says, "What are you doing, Keith?" Hair standing up on my arms, my head, and I turned around to look to see if somebody was standing there behind me, and there was nothing.
Me personally, I wouldn't let that slide. Anyway, he got in his truck and continued driving after this incident. After reaching Highway 25, he pulled over again to get some rest. This is when he rolled down his windows and looked out to see flashing red and white lights. He says the lights seemed to almost be communicating with each other in some fashion.
They were like signaling each other. So the white lights would flash a little bit, then the red lights would flash, and they were up here on the side of a mountain about maybe 600 feet to my tube, and so I'm sitting there watching this little light show, and I'm thinking, wow, that is really wild, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and all of a sudden I start to realize that it's actually some activity that's going on up there. And whether or not it's paying attention to me, or whether or not it's just doing its own thing, or it's some ranchers up there that are looking for maybe poachers or whatever on quads, I'm thinking there's so many things going through my mind trying to explain what this is at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
He starts hearing the loud footsteps of what he believed to be a bipedal creature running directly towards him through the brush. He locks himself in his truck, rolls up his windows, but then he notices something.
All of a sudden, from where those lights were that were blinking there, from that location of those lights, all of a sudden a craft shoots across the front of me at about 400 to 500, 600 feet out, shoots across from those lights right across the mountain in front of me, and I see this blue light in the back of the craft like an exhaust, but I see some blue, a color of blue, a beautiful turquoise-ish, between turquoise and dark mixed blue, back and forth, go across the front of me, and it was going so fast that I thought that it was just going to slam into the mountain to my left. All of a sudden it came right across the front of me. It made a 90-degree turn and went straight up in the air, and then just instantly stopped and was floating and hovering there.
He began following the craft down Route 198 with his truck. When it stopped, he tried to speak to it. He tried communicating with it, but he was unsuccessful. This wouldn't be the last time he encountered something like this. If you'd like to hear the story of his other encounter, a link to that video is in the description. This was actually a shorter episode than usual, so because of that, I'll throw in an extra story for you guys. This one's from Soledad, California. Soledad, California, June 17th, 2012. Red, blue, and white light flashing rapidly. The object stayed steady in the sky, going up, down, left, right. I was staring out my window at some lights from a ranch, and then I got my binoculars to make sure they were nothing more. As I'm staring at them, I noticed to my left was an object flashing red, blue, and white. My first initial thought was an airplane because it was moving from left to right, just like an airplane would. I go back to staring at the lights at the ranch, looking for any awkward movements. I set my binoculars down and looked for the airplane, and to my surprise, it was in the same spot that I had seen it last. So now I look at it more carefully and notice that it was flashing more like strobe lights and not like airplane lights. That's when I realized this wasn't a plane. I then looked at it with the binoculars that I had, and I noticed it kept getting bigger and smaller, as if it was moving closer and farther away. I saw it moving up and down, left and right, but not in that sequence. It was seemingly random, so then I decided to tell my girlfriend I'm looking at a UFO. She didn't believe me and demanded I went back to bed. I didn't know what else to do, so I called 911. After that, my girlfriend was interested in knowing more about this object. When she saw it, she noticed the same things I noticed. After that, we kept our eyes sharp on it, but as dawn approached, the object soon disappeared within seconds. But the rapid, consistent flashing never ended. This has been episode 3 of The Backroads. Don't forget what you heard tonight. Thank you. I'll see you next time.